So, a very good morning to you all. This is Professor Shripad Desai from the Department of Electrical Engineering at Bharati Vidyapeeth College of Engineering, Pune. Today, we'll be having our video lecture number 18, that is on distributed generation and power quality. So the contents for the presentation today are we'll begin with introduction, then we'll be discussing about distributed generation, then its interface to the utility system, then the power quality issues which are related to distributed generation, then operating conflicts and the interconnection standards. So we'll begin with the introduction. What is distributed generation and how does it play an important role in the power quality studies? Whether distributed generation, although distributed generation refers to various technologies that generate electricity at the place where it will be consumed. Example, a small solar panel or a wind turbine generator which are designed and implemented for standalone usage. Distributed generation helps delivery of clean and green power apart from the conventional means of power generation. So it is not restricted itself to only renewable sources of energy. It is also related to conventional means of power generation. Although by the definition you can come to know that distributed generation is nothing but generation in certain clusters. Like if we speak about a standalone wind turbine generator, so that standalone wind turbine generator is capable of meeting the energy requirement of only one particular home. So that is a standalone system. That is, it's only going to generate electricity for a particular home. It's only going to generate electricity for a particular home. Uh, there are cases in which we can generate, even if it's a standalone system, even if it's a standalone system, we can generate and further we can transmit if we are having excess of power generation. Now the case here is that we are not restricting distributed generation as a whole to only renewable source of energy. Like we have seen many such applications where generation as a standalone system relates to solar panels. Uh, each house of almost 2000 square feet, 1500, 2000 square feet are equipped with solar panels. Now that solar panels meet the basic necessities, uh, meet the basic necessities. So that is one source of distributed generation. That further it can also relate to fuel cells, battery systems, which are individual power generation sources. Now, in the residential sector, common means of distributed generation include, as I discussed, solar panels, small wind turbine generators, natural gas fired fuel cells, emergency backup generators that are used in uh, big housing apartments. In the commercial and industrial sector, the distributed generation may include solar, wind, power generation by municipal solid waste, biomass, combustion fuel cells, hydro power, etc. Distributed generation is also emphasized as its generation is near to the load. This reduces the line losses and the cost of transmission. That is, if the best part of standalone system is that the generation and the load are very nearby. In that case, the line losses reduce substantially. Further, the cost of implementation also decreases, and there are fewer failures. Um, faults which may occur. So that is the major advantage. Now, distributed generation is emphasized as its generation is near to the load, which reduces the line losses and the cost of transmission system. Also, it is not affected by the conventional grid failures. If there is a grid failure, you have a standalone system that is not going to be affected by any abnormal condition on the grid. Further, distributed generation sources rely upon renewable source of energy. Not necessary, but if distributed sources of generation are relying on renewable sources of energy, then it's a cleaner and greener source of energy. And hence, again, as I mentioned, you are promoting cleaner and greener source of energy. That is good when it comes with respect to the environmental considerations also. So, as of now, we know what is distributed generation. Distributed generation refers to various technologies that generate electricity at a place where it can be consumed. The best example which I can give you is a small solar panel which is installed on a house. So this is distributed generation. But how, if distributed generation is so good, it is having so many advantages, then why is it not equipped on such a large scale? Definitely, there will be some or the other problems which may relate to distributed generation. Now, what are those problems, and how does the scheme of a distributed generation actually look like? We will discuss it in the coming slides. So, this is a general scheme of a power generation scheme. You can observe that there are many sources of power generation. In this diagram, you can observe that there are many sources of power generation. At the top, you can see that there are photovoltaic panels, PV solar panels. Further, you can observe that there are fuel cells. You can also observe that there is a wind turbine generator. As I mentioned, if it's a standalone system, this wind turbine generator will be meeting the energy requirement only of this house. And if it is having excess power, then it can transfer it to the grid. So that's a different thing. If the same load center can also be equipped with a photovoltaic cell. Apart from that, there can be various storage systems, generators which can be used, battery systems can be used, micro turbines can be used. Then you can see here, this is as the diagram shows, this is not a standalone system. It is we'll consider this as a wind farm. It's a wind power plant. Wind farm, that means it is having n number of wind turbine generators. So here we are having some renewable sources of energy. Here we are having renewable source of energy in the terms of a wind farm. What we doing is, now we are going to transmit whatever electricity is being generated. We are transmitting it. And there is conventional source of energy in the terms of nuclear power plant, or maybe a thermal power plant, or a hydroelectric power plant. This, by conventional means, also electricity is being transmitted by making use of the transmission system. To the distribution network. Now all this power is being concentrated here. Now the advantage of distributed generation system is that if there is a certain failure on the grid, then this is not going to impact the operation of consumer equipments. It is not going to have an impact on the operation of consumer devices. Further, renewable energy sources are being used on a whole in distributed generation network. Hence, it ensures cleaner and greener source of energy. Further, there are drawbacks, that is the probability of weather and other conditions which relate to the renewable energy sources, and there are certain operating conflicts also which may arise. So we'll try and discuss all this in the coming slides. So you can see in the next slide that this is a comparison between central versus distributed generation. We know central generation is going to make use of conventional means of power generation, like your thermal power plant, your hydro or nuclear power plant. Whereas on the right, you can observe that it is sources of it's small clusters of power generation which are meeting the requirement of a particular load center in the terms of solar or fuel cells or micro turbine generators or maybe wind power plants. So all these constituent units, independent units, referred to as distributed generation. Now, central generation, as compared to distributed generation, also comes with certain advantages. To begin with, central generation is one such source of generation where the power generation is reliable. It is not dependent upon natural conditions. The second advantage being conventional source of generation is a proved and a reliable source of generation. It has already established its network, and it doesn't, as of now, on a very high scale, it doesn't make use of any network protocols, communication protocols on a very larger scale. So there is lesser theft, lesser probability of theft of data or theft of energy. Whereas in distributed generation, if I speak about distributed generation, again the very drawback here is that distributed generation is makes use of clusters for power generation, like your solar, your wind or fuel cell, if I speak, which has very lower efficiency. These are dependent upon natural conditions. The natural conditions are going to vary with respect to various seasons and other geographical conditions. So there is a probability that the power generation may not be reliable. Hence, distributed generation or individual sources of source form generation should be used with central generation unit, because to maintain reliability in the system. The distributed generation better advantage is that yes, it makes use of transmission protocols where you can get live data, but again it increases the chances of cyber attacks. So rather it may be central generation or distributed generation, both are having its advantages, both are having certain drawbacks, and a person making use of it should carefully make use of it and implement it as per his requirement. Now we'll move ahead. Interface to utility systems. Now, various technical issues arise in the integration of the distributed generation to the utility system. There are certain restrictions and economic aspects to which are to be considered. Technical issues related to power quality, harmonics, protection, and control reliability arise. A large scale of distributed generation may affect grid functions like its frequency. Every source of distributed generation has its own problems and limitations, like solar and wind sources for power generation are unpredictable, so there arise stability issues related to frequency and voltage. These variations have an impact on the generation load. Tap changers utilities should be well equipped and capable for excess power generation during shortfall from wind and solar. Standby batteries can be used to meet the deficit in power requirements, but again the economic aspect arises. You can observe this diagram carefully. Making use of data management system, digital control system, distributed generation and storage, and data being transmitted to the utility through communication model, making use of various renewable sources of energy as distributed generation clusters in the form of renewable energy sources, as well as uh, wind windmills. Distributed generation also comes with a very big advantage, and that advantage being that the data is available to power system engineers. This data can be uh, can be processed and can be made use of by the power system engineers to analyze and for predictive analysis in the future. So this is one more advantage, and by the modern electric vehicles which come in the market, smart end user devices available, distributed generation can definitely be an advantage. So we'll move ahead. We'll discuss some power quality related issues. Now, the most common power quality problems that may exist are voltage sag, or we normally call it as voltage dip, short term interruptions, for the long term interruptions, voltage swell or voltage spike or harmonic distortion, voltage fluctuations, voltage unbalance, and noise. So, although it's a distributed generation, you really cannot overcome some power quality issues. Some power quality related issues are always going to be present in the system, and due to the distributed generation integrations, this problem may arise above a particular level. Now, how are these problems going to impact the consumer devices? How are they going to have an impact on the distributed generation system? We will try and discuss all these. So the first problem which we'll be discussing is voltage sag, or it is also known as voltage dip. So we'll continue. Voltage sag. What is voltage sag? It is nothing but a short-term voltage variation defined as a decrease to between zero point 0.1 and zero point 0.9 per unit in RMS AC voltage or current at power frequency, or for durations from zero point 0.5 cycle to 1 minute. The voltage sags have adverse effects on the power system and the operating equipments. The IC definition for this phenomena is dip, whereas sag is preferred term in the US power quality community. Some of the causes of this voltage sag uh, are connection of heavy loads, starting of induction motors, short circuit faults, etc. And the effects of this voltage sag is malfunction of consumer equipments, nuisance tripping, loss of electrical machines, etc. Short-term interruptions. Now, interruptions of electric supply from a few milliseconds to a few seconds can be termed as short-term interruptions. Causes: opening and closing of protective devices, insulation failure, or flashover are some of the causes of short-term interruptions. The effects are tripping of protective devices, loss of data in processing equipments, stoppage of sensitive devices like PCs, PLCs, etc., or VFDs, because it's going to have an impact on the operation of the PCs. The PCs may shut down abnormally. For the variable frequency drive, you may have an adverse effect of short term interruptions as well. Long term interruptions. Now, total interruption of the electric supply for a span which is more than 2 seconds can be also termed as long term interruptions. Now, some of the causes of long term interruptions include equipment failure in the power system, natural calamities or human error, etc. The effects of this long term interruptions are complete stoppage of equipment. We'll proceed ahead. Voltage swell. Now, a voltage swell is defined as the increase to between 1.1 and 1.8 per unit in RMS voltage or current at power frequency for durations from zero point 0.5 cycle to 1 minute. So, causes of voltage swell are switching of heavy loads, power regulation of transformers, lightning, etc. Effects of voltage swell, again there may be a data loss, damage to sensitive equipments because of that spike in voltage. Uh, we'll discuss about voltage spike. Immediate variation and rise in the voltage levels for period varying from microseconds to a few milliseconds. Causes. What are the causes of voltage spike? Lightning, switching of heavy loads, power factor correction, etc. Effects: electromagnetic interference, destruction of equipments, etc. Harmonic distortion. Now, harmonics are nothing but sinusoidal voltages or currents having frequencies that are integer multiples of the frequency at which the supply system is designed to operate. Normally the fundamental frequency being 50 hertz or 60 hertz. Now, what other causes? Use of electronic devices like PCs, non-linear loads on a whole, UPS, inverters, rectifiers, and integration of renewable sources of energy. So these are some of the causes of harmonic distortion. Effects: overheating, derating of transformers, errors in reading of meters, nuisance tripping of power of switchgear protective devices. So these are going to be some of the effects of harmonic distortion. Voltage fluctuation. What is voltage fluctuation? Oscillation of voltage value amplitude modulated by a signal with a frequency of almost 0 to 30 hertz. Causes being arc furnaces, starting and stoppage of electric motors, switching of loads, etc. The effects of voltage fluctuation are like simply it can have an adverse effect on the equipments, consumer equipments. It can also lead to unsteadiness on human eye. We'll proceed ahead. Voltage unbalance. Now these parameters, all these parameters can also relate to and do also relate to distributed generation. There may be problems, these many problems which may arise, and the probability may be more. So voltage unbalance. A voltage variation in a three-phase system in which the three voltage magnitudes or the phase differences between them are unequal causes, that is, single phase loads. Effects: presence of negative sequence which are harmful for the induction motors. Noise. Now, noise is nothing but a high frequency signal on the waveform of a power system frequency. Causes of noise are like electromagnetic interference, use of televisions, arc furnaces, microwaves, etc. And the effects will be on sensitive equipments and like disturbances which may happen on sensitive equipments and continuous data loss. So, what are some of the operating conflicts which arise, and what are operating conflicts, and how are they related to distributed generation? Distributed generation is designed in such a way that power flow is optimized in a unidirectional way. Major concentration of distributed generation may lead to certain operating conflicts. Distributed generations leads to need of interconnection, which may lead to increased risk of equipment damage to the ferroresonant overvoltages. There is a need of increased coordination between protective devices and concerns related to the operation and life of transformers. Further, there lies voltage regulation issues due to increased concentration on distributed generation. The issues related to overcurrent protection, reduced insulation ferroresonance, issues related to overcurrent protection, reduced insulation, ferroresonance, reclosure, transformer connections, and ground faults arise. There has been a substantial rise in the distributed generation and will further rise over a few years as the penetration of DG increases. It will also lead to increased operating conflicts. The distributed generation shall adapt itself to present system of power generation, transmission and distribution. Rather, DEG, that is distributed generation, can be more reliable, but it will increase concerns related to the power quality because the problems related to integration persist, exist and will prevail. Solutions to all the conflicts may be difficult, but special engineering in the requirement for overcoming can for overcoming such arising conflicts. So the biggest problem with DC being the integration. So some interconnection standards also exist. Like interconnection standards define how distributed resources of generation can be connected to the grid. Distributed generation rely upon the concept of purchasing power during requirement and selling the surplus power to the grid during excess availability. The IEEE standard 1547 is related to interconnection standards, which establish criteria and requirement of distributed resources with electric power system. It provides a uniform standard for the interconnection of distributed resources. It provides a relevant requirement related to operation, testing, safety consideration and maintenance related to interconnection. Further, standard UL 175 also provides standards for inverters, converters, controllers and interconnection system equipment for use with distributed energy resources. Now it is a fact that the conventional sources conventional sources of energy are not going to sustain for a very long period of time. Distributed generation by means of renewable sources of energy has proved itself and is going to be one of the promising resources for meeting the energy demands. Although distributed generation, renewable sources of energy comes with a lot of drawbacks also. Most important being its uncertainty and the problems related to its integration. Although there is a problem which exists, but continuous research, power quality monitoring, data acquisition, and studies related uh, to this data in the form of raw data, processing it, and further studying it, and making use of intelligent systems. Making use of intelligent systems which are capable of communicating data, which are capable of alarming the system, which are capable of giving a predictive analysis should be used. Although distributed generation is one of the promising although distributed generation is one such promising technique source, but still more and more studies are to be conducted in this field to make it a reliable source of energy. Certain international standards are to be followed. Also, conventional source of energy is one source of energy which is a reliable form, and it has to be used as one backup along with distributed sources of generation. So that's it for the presentation today in this chapter. Thank you all. Thank you very much.